Hi, my name's Kirk Norbury. I am a nature photographer based in Scotland, and today I'm going to be talking about my 5 top accessories for landscape photography. Today I'm going to be going through my top 5 accessories for landscape photography. Now these items are, some may consider everyone should be using it. Some things you may not have heard of and you might think, oh, that's different, I might try that next time. They're not expensive things to be accessories to have for your photography. Most of them are very cheap and easy to get hold of, but they make your work 10 times easier and you'll be able to get better images. I'm not going to do them in any particular order. I'm just going to pick them up, go through them, why I like them, and we'll take it from there. Now the first one I'm going to go through is probably it's probably the number 1 accessory for photographers, and that's the tripod. This is a Gitzo GT35 41 LS. Loads of numbers, loads of letters, you know how it is. This is probably the most expensive accessory, that plus the ball head. You need something to steady your camera. You can shoot landscapes handhold, but 9 out of 10 times having a tripod, you can compose better, you take time with your images, and you can be more creative when using one of these, because you can use pretty much any shutter speed. You can have it going for minutes at a time, get to really drag out that exposure, and you just couldn't do that handheld. So this is my number 1 accessory for photographers, is the tripod, and the ball head of course. Some people try to go for the lightest tripod they can buy and spend extra for a lighter tripod. Personally, the weight, it should be comfortable weight that you can carry around with you during long trips and when you're walking, but not so light that any slight bit of breeze is going to create motion blur in your images. And the next item I'm going to go through is quite new to me, and I found it luckily on eBay. I was just looking around, as you do, trying to find little accessories, because eBay's full of them. You can get anything for £1 these days. So I was just having a look around, see what I could find, and the thing I've always wanted for my photography is an L plate. Now this is the L plate, and it attaches to your camera from the bottom, just like your normal quick release plates for your ball head. But the great thing is it has this attachment on the side here, and the benefit of that is that when it's on, you can have it normal landscape mode on your ball head, but then what you can do is you can just take it off, quick release, and you can turn the camera straight on that without having to change the ball head. Now when I'm doing landscapes and I go into portrait mode, I've turned the camera onto its side, the most annoying thing is that you've got to push the top of the ball head down that little slot so that it can go into portrait mode, and then the camera is at a funny angle, it's not straight on top of the tripod. You have to change the ball head around and move it around so you get it right, and by the time you've done that, the image is gone. Or in my case, I didn't do as much portraits in landscape. I didn't do many portrait shots when I was doing landscape photography, just because I found it awkward and messing around. And at the end of the day, you want the images to be, you want to be comfortable doing them. You don't want to be messing around and getting frustrated, because then you're not thinking creatively. Okay, so this is a great little accessory. This was about I think it was about £17 on eBay. One of the really right stuff probably make the best ones, but they're very expensive. I think, in my opinion, they're a bit overpriced for what they are. And this one was £17, and it does the job. One, con about it is that when I'm using my intervalometer, this bit here gets in the way, so I have to take it off. That's the only downside to it. I've even considered taking a hacksaw to it and cutting a little bit out of it for it, but I'd rather not do that. There is another one of these cheaper that you can get on eBay. I think it's about £40, where they've actually made it to fit, to getting cables in and that. but at the moment it hasn't been a major issue for me. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this little thing here. If you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, any of those social sites, if you ever see me post pictures of my camera, you sometimes see this little thing on it. It's just a spirit level. Now, sometimes I feel like I go a bit over the top with spirit levels on my equipment. You have them on your tripod, you have them on your ball heads, they have them built into the camera. There's so many ways to get a complete, vertical shot, because there's nothing more that annoys me when you see great images is if they've got a wonky horizon. It's just displeasing to the eye, and it's very easy to correct. You can go and crop into the image, straighten it, but then you're losing your image and you're losing what you originally took. So this, you can get them for about £3 to £5 on eBay. It's just a spirit level and they fit all cameras, and you can have it two different ways. You can either have it that way, or you can have it flat. I always have it. I never use the ones on the tripod, I never use the ones on the ball head, and I never use the one in the camera. I've always used this because with the camera you have to go into the menu. With the ball head, it's usually, depending on which way I put the camera, it could be behind, front, back, whichever, and you can't see it. This one just works the best. The only two, I use this one on the camera and then I use one on the tripod. I use the one on the tripod mainly when I'm doing panoramics, because if you have the tripod level, when you're going round, the camera still stays horizontal, because if you don't, you end up doing this and you don't realise it until you go into Photoshop and go through your images that you've got a wonky panoramic. So great little buy. I think everyone should have one of these in their bag, especially landscape photographers. They come in very handy for when composing your images. The next thing I'm going to talk about is an intervalometer. Now, it's an intervalometer / remote shutter cable release thing. So anyway, this one is a cheap one off eBay. It cost me £12. Does the job. I could buy the Canon one, but they're expensive, and for what I want them to do, it's just a simple job for them. I don't need to be spending loads of money. I'd rather spend less and get one that works and does the job I want, so I can probably afford it too. Always have a backup. If you buy the expensive Canon one, if you can afford it, get it. But I'm always on a budget, so I'll get the cheaper one and buy two, so I've always got a backup. So I've got two of these, spare cables, of course. Always get spare cables, because they do break. You're always tying it around, you're taking it out, and you're always pulling it. So I always buy it. I have this one. You can get them where it's just used as a shutter remote, just for taking images. I have this one because I need the intervalometer for time lapse. Where I can set in, it takes so many images over a certain amount of time, and I can put all that into this and let the camera do the time lapse work. But it's great for just landscape work, where I've got the shutter here. If I'm doing really long exposures, over 30 seconds, you need this in bulb mode, so I can push it down and then hold it, and then the camera goes onto it as long as I want it to, and then I can just release it, and that's the exposure done. It's a great little thing. There's another thing that everyone should have. If you want to be more creative, these little tools that don't cost that much, enable you to do this, and this is one of them, because if you know my work, then I love long exposures. It's been something I've been working on over the last 6 months, using lots of really long exposures, from like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and the longest is probably about 15-20 minutes. And it's great fun to do. It can be quite difficult, but the images just blow you away when you see them. You're seeing clouds going across the sky, so definitely something to look into. Like I said, these are cheap. Once again, you can buy the Canon ones. I think they go for about £40 these days. But this was about £15 from the UK. It's just a no-name brand, but it does the job and I like it. My fifth one, like I said, they're not in order, but compared to the tripod, this is on the same level. Now, with recent years, with technology going better and better in editing, people's opinions are changing how much they use these. Now, these are filters. Now, I have tons of them. They're absolutely scattered everywhere. They come in various sizes, types, shapes, colours, you name it, you can get it. These, the most popular are square filters, you know, for your wide angle, like leaf filters, Stingray, these are my stealth gear ones. But you also can get ones that are threaded to screw into your lens, and they come in all the sizes for your lenses to fit into them. I currently use, that's my circular polarizer. That fits my, this is an 82mm, which fits my 16-35, which is the one I'm using now. I have a step down ring, which is a ring that can turn this into a smaller one. So I use a step down ring that goes from an 82 to a 77mm, which is for my 70 to 200mm lens. So that's a great circular polarizer. It's one of the effects it gives that you really cannot create in Photoshop or Lightroom. It's the way it changes the images, you know, with the glare and contrast and the blue skies. You know, I love these things and I always have them on. You know, a great effect. So that's one I always try to have on. But I also use the square filters. Now they come in all, like I said, different shapes and that, and different types, different holders for them as well. You've got so many different brands now doing them, you know, and